Hello and welcome to Mabina TV. This is home of compassionate conservatism, where we advocate for a fine balance, a sweet spot between individual creative genius excellence as afforded by capitalism and society excellence as afforded by equality of opportunity. So in essence, we are calling for capitalism with a human face, that is capitalism with a human face. So now this is Mabina TV. So now this is a four-part segment. I will start with Remaking America, Africa Perspectives, Ideas, and then finally Bible Study. So in Remaking America, I will be asking, is individual dynamism dead in the United States? Has the government gotten too big? Or maybe that's what we should be asking. Has the government gotten too big, and is global socialism creeping into America? That is global socialism creeping into America? Basically, you have a government is getting bigger by the day. That is, the government is getting bigger by the day, and I think you heard the checks, you had this stimulus package by the Biden administration. I think really, of course, some of it was to offset the effects of corona pandemic, but I think something like issuing child care credits to American parents. If an American parent cannot take care of their kids, then doesn't it mean that basically they don't have a good enough job, and basically that they are wholly dependent on America? And I think if we are not careful, global socialism will creep into America so much so that the American will be so poor that they will be wholly forced to rely on an expansive and intrusive federal government. I think the federal government has been getting larger by the day, and I think you heard Ronald Reagan. He used to say the government is the problem, let it get out of the way. I think we prefer limited government. I think America was built by individual dynamism. That's what built America, not the government. It is not the American government that built America, but by individual dynamism, having millions of silos of success. And I think under the Democrats, they want to expand the federal government. Look at the stimulus packages. Look at the amount of money that is being printed by the Biden administration. It is getting more and more into debt. And what is this doing? That the government is here to help. I don't think the government helps at all. I think really the government does not help. I think we want to be like the Soviet, like the socialist Nordic European countries, the so-called Scandinavian countries, and be a socialist utopia. But remember, for that money to come and help an American parent, that money has to come from somewhere, and it has to come from the American taxpayer. So I think it is a zero-sum game. It is the people who make up the government, not the government. Government does not have money on its own, but it taxes the people to get that money. That's why I think the key to the revitalization of America, the key to the rebuilding of America is in individual dynamism, is in opening up businesses that then will have the criteria, will have businesses that will then create jobs, and then you tax those income tax. That's how the government makes money. The government does not have money on its own, and I think this is why we call for individual dynamism in America. And I think if there is more individual dynamism, there will be millions of silos of success. And that's how to enhance the American dream. The American dream cannot be enhanced by depending on the government. Look at all the people that are going for food stamps. I think according to a report, America spent about $400 billion on catering for illegal immigrants. And I think this is money that could have gone in towards maybe saving the American economy. Look at the stimulus packages that always pass. Look at the 2008 financial crisis. If the President then, George W. Bush, had used that $700 billion that he extended to automakers, then that money could have created maybe 700,000 new startups, maybe at $1 million each. And I think what we need then is to have a revitalized entrepreneurship. I think America has dropped to the fourth place as the best place to start a business, and I think America, being the utopia of capitalism, we have to be able to navigate the processes of starting a business. We need to ease the process of starting a business so that you can have you can have people that can freely start a business. And if we make it possible for businesses to start, that's how they will create new products, new services, and create employment. And I think if we improve the conditions for starting a business, and I think a lot of money is going to startups, but that some of that money needs to go to this brick and mortar economy. In the year 2021, about $285 billion was pumped into startups, and I think, yes, they are good startups, they solve some of the immediate needs, but I think it needs to go to some of the more traditional brick and mortar businesses, such as maybe juice making companies, shoe making companies. These are the kind of companies that are likely to hire an ordinary American, and then so if they hire an ordinary American, then they will be able to, then they will create the kind of job, then the government can get money through taxes. And I think if there is more individual dynamism, then have the government control, have the government maybe just as a referee, but not to be involved, because this global socialism, of course, it's about, I think what socialists want, they say that no one puts themselves by their own bootstraps. They say no one puts themselves by their own bootstraps. And I think they say that the government educates the workers, the government provides the enabling environment, the police to keep the law, the locals, and then the people should be taxed highly. But I don't think that is the case. Money comes from American people. Money comes from the American people. So, of course, there's that all-running debate whether to reward society or the individual. Socialism seems to reward the society, but the individual creative genius suffers, while capitalism, I think, rewards the individual. But of course, then if it goes to the extreme, then it creates a corporation. So that is the dilemma America finds itself in. That is a balance. We have to balance America between America, the corporation, and America as a society. So of course, America as a society wants, seeks to create equality of opportunity. And I think equality of opportunity is how America was built. Equality of opportunity is about bringing everyone to the same starting lineup, and then the differences can be explained by rare skill, rare talent, creative genius. And I think if we have equality of opportunity, then there will not be need for all these affirmative action policies or these race-conscious admissions. These affirmative action policies will not need to be there if we want that is equality of opportunity. And I think if equality of opportunity is there, then there will be more people that will get access to good education, access to business capital financing. And I think we have to expand the venture capital towards maybe having, we have to expand the venture capital towards having maybe funding these brick and mortar businesses. So that's how I think we could develop these businesses, and I think that's how to make sure that basically that is individual dynamism is enhanced. So how do you think we can enhance individual dynamism in America? So is global socialism creeping into America? So you let me know in the comment section. Then in Africa perspective, it has been said that the 21st century will be the Asian century. It has been said that the 21st century will be the Asian century, but can it also be the African century? Can the 21st century be the African century? Basically, in the 1950s, development economists thought that Africa will develop first because of the immense mineral resources it has. Look at a country such as DR Congo. It is estimated that the mineral potential of DR Congo is about $30 trillion. That will make it the richest country in the world, because the US economy is about $20 trillion. Chinese economy is about $17 trillion. So if Africa has this DR Congo at $30 trillion, that will make it the richest country in the world. But that will only happen if DR Congo is able to convert titanium to aeroplane parts, convert copper to electronics, convert coffee to coffee drinking chains, convert uranium to nuclear power, convert that is rivers to hydroelectric power, convert gold and diamonds to jewelry. That's how Africa is going to blossom. And I think, really, I think the mineral resources of Africa are immense. If the Congo is worth $30 trillion, then it means the mineral resources in Africa could be worth about $200 trillion. Just imagine, $200 trillion. I think this is the way the mineral resources in Africa could be worth $200 trillion. That will make it Africa the richest place in the world. But that will happen if we fix our leadership. Africa has to fix its leadership. That's how to have an Africa that fixes its leadership. That's how to make sure that Africa is at the top of its game. So if Africa fixes its leadership, and then we will elect leaders that have the best interest of our heart. Of course, we always elect the worst leaders to lead us. I've often said that the leaders to lead Africa are there, but they are buried deep within. They are the cattle deep chairman. When we select the cattle deep chairman, we go for the best. When we select the wedding committee chairperson, we go for the best. When we select the school lab wing committee chairperson, we select the best. But why is it that when it comes to national leadership, we elect the worst among us to lead us? Look at all the African presidents. I don't think there is anyone that is going to deliver their country to the promised land. We don't have African leaders that are going to deliver their country to the promised land. We have leaders that basically we have leaders that basically will sell Africa next to a song. Look at them. They just are not going to deliver Africa. Look at our leaders today. And I think really colonialism did not end. I think what this gifting of African countries independence, I don't think it happened. What happened was that the running of the colonies had gotten too expensive. And so what did the colonizers do? They decided there and then that basically what we should be doing then is to have puppets as leaders of African countries so that they can do just enough so that wealth freely flows to Western countries. And I think the independence that colonials gifted us is hollow, We have not been able African leaders have not been able to deliver growth dividends to their people. There is no tap water. There is no tap water in every African home. There is no electricity in every African home. Africans are going from college and are unemployed. Billions are unemployed in Africa, or underemployed. They are not fully utilizing their skills and talents, and that's why I say these people did not have a Marshall Plan. The independence leaders, they just kept kicking the can down the road. There was a vision to have piped water by 1980. Then it was kicked down the road to 2000, then 2020, and now 2040. So you can see how African leaders are basically just kicking the can down the road. They are not intending to be able to govern well in Africa. And I think Africa place has to come. Africa has all the mineral resources, but the leadership in Africa really needs to step up. I think whereas Europe was theorized, so the precision expert consultant makes the rules, whereas America was innovated, so the creative genius entrepreneur makes the rules, whereas China was reverse engineered, so the systems technocrat makes the rules. Africa has to be 3D printed, and I think all the plans to make Africa greater they are in thesis, they are in dissertations, they are in opinion columns. They are in opinion columns. Then they are in opinion columns. And I think what needs to happen then for Africa is that we need to be able to have this, just take this opinion, this thesis that has been developed, these newspapers, take them and implement them right away. That's why we need a smart executioner, 1,000 times more in the mold of Lee Kuan Yew. So I think then basically we need to be able to have people that can we need to be able basically to have leaders that can see deep into Africa, and I think 1,000 more leaders than maybe even Lee Kuan Yew. So that has been, so now I have been looking at whether Africa can claim the 21st century, because it has always been thought that it will be the Asian century. So that's it. Then I will move over to ideas, and I'm looking at these non-traditional students. So you have the Columbia School of General Studies, Yale Ellie Whitney program, you have Brown RE program. So what is the future of adult learning? What is the future of adult learning? So basically you have Yale Ellie Whitney program, you have Brown RE program, you have Columbia School of General Studies. Of course, a school such as Columbia School of General Studies has been accused that it gives the stats for non-traditional students, that it doesn't give out the stats to non-traditional students who I think because it will dilute the ranking numbers for, it will dilute the numbers for in the ranking bodies such as the U.S. News and World Report. So there is the Columbia College, and then there is the Columbia School of General Studies. So the Columbia College basically is for students straight out of high school, but for Columbia School of General Studies, I think for Columbia School of General Studies, I think then it has to, it admits non-traditional students also at a break in the academic journey. So I think for now, then I would watch that this non-traditional schooling will be, then I think these days the knowledge that you have gained from the classroom expires just as you have left that course. The knowledge that you get from classroom expires just as you get out of that class. And I think what then needs to happen is that we need these schools to be able, this will be the future of adult learning, where these schools will be able to train students that basically can, where traditional learning it does not take place, then you can have students, you can have people a lifelong learning. And maybe the question to ask is, will these colleges really open up? I think they often say that they want to open up, but will they open up? Because one of the hallmarks of these great institutions, these elite Ivy League colleges, one of their hallmarks is what built their brand is exclusivity. That is, when Harvard brags about a 3.5% admission rate, basically it is saying that it is exclusive. And so how does it democratize learning without diluting their brand? So that's it for ideas. And then in the Bible study, finally, I will be reading the Sabbath. Then the Lord said, so this is from Exodus chapter 31, verse 1. It says, then the Lord said to Moses, tell the Israelites this, you must follow the rules about my special days of rest. You must do this because they will be a sign between you and me for all generations. So when is the day of worship? Of course, some say Sabbath is on a Saturday. Others say these days of worship are worshipping the Roman gods, the sun god. That is why they chose Sunday to be the day of worship. But I think the day of worship should be every day, and I think that is how we can worship. So we should be worshiping every day, and that is how I think we can partake of the blessings of the Lord. So this has been Mabinda TV. For now, this where I have looked at Remaking America, Africa Perspectives, and then ideas, and then finally Bible study. So this has been Mabinda TV. This is home of compassionate conservatism in which you advocate for a fine balance and sweet spot between individual creative genius excellence as afforded by capitalism and society excellence as afforded by equality of opportunity. So in essence, I'm calling for capitalism and a human first, that is capitalism with a human first.